Smashers of the Internet, and welcome to another episode of
80-Bit Podsmash,
where gaming goes to grab a beer. We are your hosts,
Penguin and Termite,
and we always forget to grab our beers in advance in preparation of the tank.
So we're always like
scrambling as we're speaking.
Handling.
If you could see us on video, you would know.
Yes, 80-Bit Podsmash is a weekly podcast where we talk about mostly video games, but we try to spice it up and combine the general topic of video games with other topics and things you care about, such as art, politics, religion, or just intricacies of the industry that are kind of more broad in scope as opposed to specific in capacity. I don't know if I'm using those words right, but they sound cool. So yeah,
tonight we are going to talk about
beer first.
Yes.
We're going to first talk about the beers we drink, because this is where gaming goes to grab a beer.
Yep.
We have
two different ones.
We do. We're switching things up. We have both our Star Hill beers, but Termite, you have
the Resonate Imperial Red IPA, and it is money. It is a red IPA. If you want to know what that's like, you can look it up. But it says a dank red IPA full of resinous, piney hop character balanced by toasty malt notes and a silky mouthfeel.
What does it feel like for you? What do you...
I would say it is smooth. It does have like a little bit of that tangy, toasty, malty sweetness, but not a whole lot, not overpowering. And it has just the right amount of hops. I wouldn't say piney, though. I mean, it's what the bottle says, but I'm not getting pine.
I can't imagine that either. I am drinking the Star Hill Last Leaf, which is a maple brown ale. It's very sweet, mapley, obviously. Like but it's still got kind of that dry brown kind of lager. The explanation is a English brown ale made with real Virginia maple syrup, featuring subtle vanilla notes and a smooth, malty character. I can agree with that. Yeah, I can get the subtle vanilla notes, but I mostly get maple. Like I mostly get that. Like, maple's a very specific flavor. It's not. No, it's not overpowering. It's just the right amount. But
good.
I can see how others. Again, I have a sweet tooth, so the right amount of sweet for me is not necessarily the right amount of sweet for everybody else. So cool. What else is going on?
I'm a little rushed. Like, I haven't been home but for like 5 minutes, and I had just enough time to shove some food in my face, which was the Taco Bell Double Chalupa box, trying to win an Xbox One X Platinum Edition. I did not win. I tried.
No, we went out and got chalupas
last week. Yep.
And we recorded ourselves not winning, and also like making a bunch of munching sounds. So though Termite wanted to publish it, I vetoed that and said, I don't really want to put this out there. It would have been one thing if we won, because then it would have been like, oh, we recorded this moment, it's amazing, and you guys would have put up with the like awful chewing sounds, but really it's just us eating Taco Bell.
If you want to hear it, let me know.
Okay, yeah.
We'll slide
if you all really want to hear it, we'll give you the whole unedited version of us just Taco Bell. But really, it is not our quality work. So that was definitely a moment where I think that we exercise some restraint and quality control with our podcast. It's good. It's good. It's a good thing.
Maybe.
So I agree. It would have been one thing if we won.
Yeah.
Then I'm like, let's stream ourselves just cramming chalupas into our face. All
Sounds
of our face
amazing.
holes. Yeah, just cramming up a chalupa up our noses.
Yeah.
But no, we didn't win. So, yeah. Oh, but you want to tell them about the Xbox One X that you could win from this?
Yeah. Okay. So the whole reason why this is amazing is Microsoft and Taco Bell teamed up to make a limited edition run of the Xbox One X console. It's colored in a special platinum color that you can't buy on the shelves. And the best part, the most amazing thing, is when you press the power button, it makes the dong from their commercials.
The Taco Bell commercials.
Yes.
This is great.
And I was like, sold. I will poison my body to make sure I try to get that. Like, I need that.
Yes. Good. Good.
Yeah.
The other thing that has been going around in the gaming world, it's a small thing, and it's probably not a big deal, but the Smash community has been
we're going to talk
fire.
About the Smash
Just
leak,
slightly.
Another one.
Just going to talk slightly about the Smash leak, and that's only because I mostly am fascinated about the fact that the Smash community is devouring itself, like from the inside out, because there's been like no news the entire month, and legit, it's been 1 month of no news. We went much longer when you consider the fact that like from the original announcement of Smash Ultimate with the Inkling trailer, before we even knew it was called Smash Ultimate, to
that was in April.
Gosh, I guess it was. I guess we didn't even learn anything about the title and stuff until
E3.
E3. Was there something before? There was a Nintendo Direct before that.
Yeah, but they didn't talk about Smash. They only showed it off that one time.
Yeah.
In
Okay.
April.
So yeah, it was a good 5 months of no news whatsoever. But I think it's because it's so close to release, and we've learned so much, and a lot of those kind of big notes of King K. Rool's in Smash, Ridley's in Smash,
crazy.
Everyone's just expecting big things.
Yeah.
And the fact that everyone's here means every character. Since they announced that every character from previous matches, there's no surprise returning veterans.
Right.
Every character they reveal is going to be a completely new addition. So with that in mind, there's been a recent leak. Apparently, what lends authenticity to this leak is the fact that it seems to have come from someone who has been verified as an employee for a French company that's been printing the promotional material for Smash. And they leaked basically the final roster picture. It's that same picture everyone's been seeing, that banner, that long.
Oh, it's so good. I want one of those so bad.
It was panorama shot looking type things where it has all the characters on the screen. All 68 characters on the screen. So, and it has 7 additional characters, basically, is what the leak shows, is the final poster having 7 additional characters. If you don't want to know who those characters are, then spoilers incoming. Skip ahead 2 minutes. Yeah, exactly. But the characters supposedly the characters that are supposedly on this picture that people can see are Banjo-Kazooie.
No! That's not happening.
Wow.
It was loud.
So loud.
Clip.
A very, very, very
Banjo-Kazooie is not happening.
Whatever. The leak
and I can
shows,
explain why.
It shows Banjo. Okay, it shows Banjo. Let me finish. It shows Banjo. It shows Gino.
That would be awesome. That's amazing.
Super Mario RPG.
He needs to be I will main him.
It shows Isaac, which is my most exciting thing
from Golden Sun. Yeah.
It shows Ken as a Echo of Ryu and Shadow as an Echo of Sonic,
which are expected.
That's going to be a no-brainer. It shows characters called Chorus Kids from a game called Rhythm Heaven. That's kind of a throwaway one for me. And Mach Rider from the Mach Rider games, which is a motorcycle game from the NES.
Yep. Super old. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's one more. I'm trying to rack my brain. We said Banjo, Gino, Isaac. No, that's right. Mach Rider and so five newcomers and 2 Echoes. And so, anyways, yeah, it lends some authenticity. What lends authenticity to it is the fact that this dude, he tried to be anonymous, but his name was somehow his name was in the original picture. And it's a Snapchat. It was a kind of a grainy, blurry photo. So that's what people are It's what people like Termite. And I too. I'm not sitting here saying I believe this, but I'm kind of playing devil's advocate to Termite's very strong no. And it's kind
only
of
on Banjo-Kazooie. Everyone else seems okay and possible, but Banjo-Kazooie is the one thing that breaks every rule Nintendo has not broken yet.
Right? Yes, but Nintendo had not broken the no Nintendo IP. No outside of Nintendo IP rule.
Back with Brawl
with Snake. Exactly. You know what I mean? So it only takes one time. There was a technicality for them to break.
Metal Gear Twin Snakes, Metal Gear Solid Twin Snakes.
Sure, but there's no technicality for Cloud.
But yeah, Cloud is the biggest. What?
Yes. So
he's never been on a Nintendo console.
You can always say there's an exception to every supposed rule that they've had with newcomers. There is no rules. The rules are whatever Sakurai wants them to be and whatever he can work out with third-party IPs.
Yeah.
So in this case, they've already have a close working relationship and a close enough working relationship with Rare that they were able to get K. Rool in the game. Because even though K. Rool is in Donkey Kong franchise, which is a Nintendo IP, K. Rool himself was owned by Rare in the same way that Geno is owned by Square, despite the fact that Super Mario RPG is a Nintendo IP. So they still had to get Rare's approval to get K. Rool. So if they already have a working relationship with Rare, then it's not too much of a stretch to me to say, hey, can we also put Banjo in the game?
Well, it makes sense because Rare made a Donkey Kong Country series of games, and in there the biggest antagonist on a Nintendo centered IP game is one villain. So it makes sense that they would be like, okay, we've never had King K. Rool on any other platform, there's never been any other remakes for it, he's only existed on Donkey Kong Country. So if Nintendo reaches out and says, hey, you made this antagonist for our game, we own the rights to Donkey Kong, can we just get the rights to King K. Rool too? It's a reasonable jump to think that. Right.
To me, it's reasonable to go even further and say, okay, Banjo-Kazooie was a really popular game on the N64 that people love. This character would fit very well in Smash Bros. As well. You gave us K. Rool. Would you be willing to give us Banjo as well? Again, it's not like Rare's not getting anything out of this. They're not only getting exposure to their game, but they're also probably getting paid
but the
for the intellectual property.
The elephant in that conversation is Microsoft. because all of the Banjo-Kazooie games are now on Xbox.
Microsoft has been chomping
exclusives.
at the bit to be working with Nintendo. They were the ones who made Buddy with Rocket League and Fortnite, and were teaming up against Sony for a long time. I think Microsoft would be much more amenable to
That's if Nintendo wanted
with
to
Nintendo.
get it. Like, I don't think Nintendo wants to represent any Western developers in their Smash games.
I think that is compelling, but not, again, we only think that because it's been the pattern so far, but we don't know what Sakurai's thinking. Have you walked up and said, Sakurai, are you going to include any Western characters in your game? And he has not said, no, I am not going to do that, Termite. You know what I mean? Like, you are only speculating based on the pattern, and all it takes is one black swan for the pattern to break.
And you also have to learn the long history of Nintendo and how they work as a company. They don't play well with others, especially Westerners. They are vindictive and they're controlling.
They, in the past, have been, but we have been seeing
better.
a Nintendo that's been singing a different tune in the past 2 years.
Since the Switch, yeah.
Especially since the Switch. The Switch, in my mind, is like, hey, Nintendo's turning a new leaf. And it makes sense because they've been under a new president for the last 5 years, and they are really starting to understand their market more, I think. So you're making arguments based on, just because it's been one way in the past doesn't mean it's going to continue to be that way.
I would be extremely surprised if
Okay, well, we'll see what
I'm
happens.
saying it's not going to happen.
We'll
I'm
see what happens. That's fine.
No Banjo-Kazooie.
I'm not saying that I
Impossible.
believe the leak. I just think that it's possible, and there is some precedent for big leaks happening right before Smash has come out. There was a big leak from someone on the inside of the ESRB apparently leaked the entire remaining roster for Smash 4.
Does that include DLC
months
too?
Before it came out. It included Mewtwo specifically, which was the first DLC for Smash 4. So, yeah, this one does not include DLC, so there's a lot of speculation still as to who the DLC characters could be. I'm hoping for Skull Kid, personally.
That would be so much better than Banjo-Kazooie.
Do you just not like Banjo? I think this is because you don't like Banjo-Kazooie.
I love Banjo-Kazooie. It's one of my favorite Nintendo 64 games, hands down. I played the whole thing. I've 100%ed it multiple times.
I think Termite
have
just
it
doesn't
on the
like
Rare
Banjo-Kazooie.
Replay collection on my Xbox. He just doesn't belong in Smash
All right,
Bros.
we're just going to have to agree to disagree on this one.
Yep.
I think, and then hopefully one day you'll see how wrong you are and come begging to me for forgiveness with offerings of beer and
I didn't offend anyone.
massages.
I ain't got nothing to apologize for.
You have offended me, good sir, and
That's on you. Why are you offended about my
massages.
disagreement?
Foot massages, I demand them. I'll give you a foot massage if you're right, too. Whatever.
That's weird.
Yeah, it's weird.
We can do it on the air.
Yeah.
Hey.
Because that's what people want to hear. All right. 80-bit Podsmash, now available on Smell-O-Vision. All right. Let's move on, since fighting about Smash is not our favorite thing. Doing this podcast is our favorite thing. Yo, doing this podcast is our favorite thing.
You added a little extra in
I
there.
did, a little flavor, a little spice, a little zest.
That's pretty cool.
A little chop of a jalapeno
I
there.
like it.
Favorite things is the first segment of our podcast where we like to keep you up to date on the things that we're digging and what we're into this week.
Yes.
So, what's your favorite thing, Termite?
My favorite thing is going out to eat after work. Like leaving work and instead of going home, going to meet friends or family at a restaurant. I don't know what it is, but it's the most exciting. Like, this is amazing. I don't have to go home and like do more work, because coming home sometimes feels more like work when you have to like prepare and get your family together to eat dinner around the table and like clean up all the dishes afterwards and, you know, that stuff. When all of that is a leave and everyone's like, yeah, let's just go out to eat. Like, yes, we're going straight there. Like, I don't have to go consolidate cars. I can just leave work and meet you there.
Yeah.
Like, that's my favorite thing.
Nice.
It's awesome. It very rarely ever happens. Yeah.
Nice. My favorite thing is, so I'm not really a cat person. I'm going to preface by saying that. I don't really care for cats. But there's been this cat that's been hanging out around our house.
He's still there.
He's still there. Yeah. So, anyways, there's been this, let me finish my story. There's been this cat that's been hanging around our house. And he's a stray, and, like, I have no desire to, like, bring him into my home. But I do kind of like the idea of him, like, killing snakes and rats and stuff in my yard. So, especially considering that, like, my house is built on a swamp and there's a lot of copperheads. So I'm kind of like, hey, I'm gonna. So my wife and I have decided, hey, we're gonna just feed this cat so that we can incentivize him to stay in our yard and be on our property, because we don't hate the idea. He's this cute little black cat. He's not tiny, but he's still young. You can tell he's small and full black. cat. I've been calling him Miles Morales, and
Nice.
my wife has been calling him Spider Cat, which is appropriate. I will also call him Meowles sometimes, in fact, more often, because he meows a lot. He meow when he sees me. He won't come up to me. He won't let me pet him. If I get close to him, he bolts. But he'll meow at me until I feed him. It's great. Anyways, so my wife went away for a bachelorette party this past weekend for a whole different wedding that we're also going to. It's going to be 2 weddings in 1 weekend. It's going to be crazy.
Wow.
And so she went away for a bachelorette party, but on her way, she said, hey, in a road near our house, she saw a dead black cat. And she texted me.
No.
She said, there's a dead black cat on the road. I don't know if it's Meowles or not, but let me know if and when you see him. And I didn't see him the entire weekend. So by Sunday, I had basically been like, he's dead. Like,
he's done.
He's done. Like, he got hit by a car and it's super sad. Yeah. So now I have this bag of cat food that I'm not going to be able to use. And then I just walked outside one time and I heard meow. And I was like, and I see him and I'm like, Meowles. And I go up, I'm going to go hug him. And then he bolts, of course. And I'm like, I shall feed you, my son. So I was happy that he's alive. And yeah.
You
so,
still like him, even though he
Meowles.
doesn't want anything to do with you except for food.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's a total cat thing.
He'll warm up to me eventually.
Until he pees all over
I've
your
been
stuff.
trying to I'm not gonna let him into my stuff.
He'll pee on your car.
Whatever.
He'll
It's
pee
a
on your
car.
porch.
It washes off whenever it rains.
You'll have nice porch furniture.
That's cool. I'll
nice
just
wicker.
spray it down. That's cool.
And it'll have a cushion that'll absorb it all. It'll smell great.
Great. Awesome. He kills
I'm not bitter about cat
copperheads.
pee at all. He'll pee on him first.
He's alive. I'm happy that he's alive. And
Yay,
Meowles. Yep. Meowles, meow days.
Wow, that's a name.
Cool. Then favorite things is done. So let's move on to our next segment, which is
We never DLC. We never told our audience what our topic was for
We
tonight.
didn't, but we'll get to it. Oh, I guess we'll get to it now.
Yeah.
So our topic tonight is another one in one of our 4 different series. I don't know. It doesn't matter how many series we have.
We have a bunch.
We have a bunch of series. This is one that we haven't done in a while, and it is a series that we call Everything Franchises, where we talk as much as we can about a single franchise that we love, that we think has enough to talk about. And this week it is Pokemon.
Gotta catch them all.
Gotta catch them all.
Our courage
Fair
will pull us through.
use license there. So since, and what we do for the DLC for each and one of those is we test each other's metal and knowledge, metal minds. That's a Mistborn reference. And we test each other's knowledge of the franchise that we're discussing in a bout of trivia. Head to head, 5 questions. Who will take the title?
Bum, bum, bum.
So the running tally is I have won 2 of these. I won the Zelda trivia and the Final Fantasy trivia. But then Termite came back and broke my winning streak. Combo breaker.
With Mario?
With Mario. So, will he tie it up this week, or will Penguin take the crown again? You will find out after a word from our sponsors. Just kidding.
We don't have any
We don't
sponsors.
have any sponsors.
If you are a sponsor who is willing to send us some money, then please let us know.
Give us money. Yeah,
We
that'd
could
be
use
great.
the cash. That'd be great.
We'll tell you where you can find us later. But, so, to trivia. Pokemon trivia.
Gotta catch them all.
Gotta catch them all. So, hold up. I gotta pull mine out because I'm in the podcast notebook and not my personal notebook.
Hey, I did the same thing.
No. Because I want you to see my answers. Okay.
Right.
So, do you want to go first as the
Yes.
holder
ask
of the
me,
belt?
Ask me a question.
Oh, you want me to ask you a question?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Question number 1 for Termite in Pokemon trivia. Which Pokemon generation represented the most sales for the franchise?
Gen 2, Gold, Silver, Crystal.
Incorrect.
Darn.
Gen 1.
Oh, well.
Red, blue, and green.
Okay.
But I guess, well, yeah, they had 3 games for Gen 2 as well.
Mhm.
All right. Question for Penguin.
All right. You ready?
Yeah.
I threw you a bone.
Oh, nice.
Because I know the last generation of Pokemon that you played.
Yeah.
And so I will ask you a question regarding that specific
Nice.
generation.
Oh, great.
As a warm-up question.
Okay, all right. Well,
See, I think the victory here happens to be in how I formulate the question
hey,
and how
no,
difficult
I've got
they
some
are.
easy questions. I got some low balls, too.
All right.
All right. I just didn't do
Name
it first.
the starting town in Gen 2. Gold, Silver, and
In
Crystal.
Gen 2.
Yes.
That's not an easy question.
Yes, it is.
It requires ridiculous recall. In Gen
Which you
2, the
have.
starting town,
Yeah.
I don't know.
It is New Bark Town.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't have gotten that.
Really?
They named them all after wood?
Yeah.
Like tree types,
Mhm.
like Pine Town and Aspen Town or something
Yeah.
like that? Oh,
Something like
see.
that. I don't even know all the towns.
I
by
just
heart.
knew that it was colors in the first one. That's
Right.
all I know. All right. So neither of us have any
that's
points.
it.
All right,
All right.
ready? You'll get a point for this one. What Gen 2 Pokemon is featured in the first episode of the anime?
It's a Ho-Oh.
Yes, correct.
The legendary bird that flies over the rainbow.
1 point.
That's a good question.
Got
I like
it.
that.
Yeah, that's a good one.
All right. Well, I hope you can get this one.
Okay.
This might be a little more difficult. How many Eevee evolutions are there?
Oh, hold on. I got this. There's 3, then they added 2, and they added 2 more. So I'm going to say 7. 7 evolutions.
There are 8.
What?
Yep.
What's the 8th?
Jolteon, Flareon, Vaporeon, Umbreon, Espeon. That's the shadow.
uh-huh.
And then Leafeon, Glaceon, Leaf and Ice, and Sylveon. Fairy.
See, that's a new... I
new
didn't
one.
know the fairy one.
Yeah.
Lame.
Yep.
All right. 1 point for Termite, 0
Yeah.
points for
Sorry,
Penguin.
you almost had it. You were so close. You just went off.
I didn't know Faireon.
Well, Sylveon.
Yeah, Faireon. All right. Which Gen 1 Pokemon, or in general, which was the very first Pokemon to be designed?
Rhydon.
Oh,
I have the same
man.
question.
Oh, nice.
What do we do with that? I have it right here in front of me.
Do we cross it off? It would just be 1 point for each of us.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Right.
All
Because
right.
that was my next question for you.
Oh, cool. Oh, how cute.
So we'll just skip that.
Oh, cute.
So it's still
Yep.
1-0, and we'll
1-0.
move on to our third question.
I'll do the fourth.
Third.
That was my third.
That was your third?
So yours.
That was my third for you.
Okay, yeah, that was my third for you as well. So
fourth
I'll do my
questions.
fourth question.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Go ahead.
All right. Game Freak was what kind of media company before designing video games?
I only know them as a game developer company.
Oh,
so that's
snap.
it. Yeah. I don't
They were a magazine company, actually.
Oh, interesting.
Mhm,
I
Yep.
would've never
They did
guessed that.
General gaming magazines.
Huh.
Yep.
know. Like Famitsu?
I guess so.
That's a Japanese gaming magazine.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right. My question for you is, how many Pokemon are there now? Total.
Can I round it to the nearest, 50?
Eh,
I'm not going to get the exact number. If it's not a multiple of 5, I'm not going to get the exact
that is
number.
not a multiple of 5.
Okay.
I will let you round it to the nearest 5.
The nearest 5. Okay.
Yes.
I'm going to say 855.
So the rounding of that would be 850 or 860.
Yeah.
And that is incorrect.
Okay, how
There
much?
are 802.
Ah,
you were close.
She's just done 800.
Yeah.
All right. Ah, that was my instinct.
Yeah.
Which one had fewer then? Because aren't there 8
I have
generations?
no idea. Yeah. No, there's only 7 generations.
Oh, okay. Then never mind.
Yeah.
That,
And they add
that
more
checks
than
out.
100.
Yeah.
It's variable. Every
Yeah,
generation
yeah.
adds a different number. So,
all right, you're ahead, and there's one more question.
all right, go.
The Swords of Justice legendary Pokemon from Black and White are based on what literary characters?
I have no idea.
Snap. They are based on the Three Musketeers.
Oh.
Yep.
Huh. I don't even know those characters.
Those Pokemon? They're like 3 dog horses or something. So it's like the 3 birds. They always add 3 legendary.
And
A motif.
the black and white?
And Black and White added 3. I don't know what their
Gen-
names are. I saw the names, but
5,
they're
6.
like the 3 legendaries. The one that comes in 3s, and they're designed after the 3 Musketeers, and they're called the Sword of Justice.
Huh. Yeah, there's Gen 5 ones. Interesting. Yeah, I would have never guessed that.
I'll look them up later.
Yeah.
All right, one chance to redeem myself
There
for a
you go.
time.
How many types of Pokemon are there? That's fire, grass.
Okay,
I'll give you
yeah,
those
I
two.
got you.
Yeah.
All right, I'll have to count
The
again.
number,
I'm going to
yes.
count, yes.
Mhm.
Okay, so fire, water, grass, ground, steel, fairy, dragon, psychic, ghost. I'm going to count twice. I'm scared I'm going to count twice. Oh, I'm missing one. Normal, bug, poison. I'm going to say 12.
No.
How many?
There are 18.
18?
Normal, fire, fighting,
Fighting!
water,
Ah!
flying, birds,
Flying,
grass,
yeah.
poison, electric, which you didn't even mention
Oh,
electric.
stupid electric.
Ground, psychic. I don't think you mentioned ground. Rock,
I did say
ice.
ground.
Okay.
Oh, rock and ground are different. Two
Yeah,
different
they are.
types. That's
Yeah.
stupid. Stupid
Game
freak.
Bug, dragon, ghost, dark, steel,
Bug.
fairy.
Okay.
Lots.
I got a lot of them.
You did.
All right, you won. It's tied up.
Yay!
All right, we'll have to do another everything
Tied up.
episode soon to see
Yep.
who can take.
With the weird variation that we added, we asked the exact same question.
That
That's the first time it's ever
That's
happened.
The first time it has
Yeah,
happened.
usually we have some
I
extra.
almost left that one off.
Yeah.
Man, that would have been a free point for me.
hmm
I might have tied that up if we hadn't done that.
Yeah.
Ah. Yeah, that.
We should have come up with more than 5 questions each, so we have backup questions in case we. Yeah.
Do you know why, or do you know? Do you
I don't
know
know
what
anything about it.
Do you know what the implication of Rhydon being the first Pokemon designed is?
No.
All those Rhydon statues that show up in the first game.
Oh yeah.
They're like, oh yeah, we're gonna pay. They did that to pay tribute to the fact that he was the first one
Oh nice.
that was designed.
That's
yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah, that's cool. I thought that was the coolest.
Pokemon is
trivia.
huge. There's so
It
much
is huge.
inside, like little things. Like we could spend many podcasts talking about it. Pokemon.
Exactly. And that's why we're going to try to get as much as we can out tonight without overwhelming our listeners. All right, so yeah, Pokemon. Let's talk Pokemon.
Let's do it.
Let's start off. What is Pokemon for the person who's been living under a rock for the past 20 years?
Well, if you haven't heard the name Pokemon by now, I would be shocked.
Right,
because Pokemon Go took over the world by storm. I think more adults know what Pokemon is now.
Pokemon has taken the world. Some very form of Pokemon or another has taken over the world by storm.
Yeah, since 1996,
yes, exactly,
which is when the first one came out. So I'm going to start from the beginning. What was the very first thing that Pokemon was? It was a Japanese RPG developed for Game Boy.
Red and blue,
Japan.
right? Pokemon Red and blue.
Red and blue and green. No, red and green in Japan.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was red and green in Japan, and blue was North America.
Okay.
And then yellow came out for both North America and Japan later. So it was a Japanese RPG for the Nintendo Game Boy, which is a portable platform. And if you don't know what that is, Google that. And it's kind of like I'm going to have to quote the awesome girls from What's Good Games podcast. They say, baby's first RPG. And it really is. It has very simple systems, low barrier of entry. It's not super difficult.
Right. You're only controlling one thing at a time. It's turn-based combat for those who
So it's an RPG role-playing game. You develop your characters by catching them in the wild and then leveling them up on your own.
Yeah, it's kind of dark when you actually really think about it. Like, the conceit of the game is you go around and catch wild animals, trap them into magical
little containers,
balls, and then you make them fight each other. Then it's like dog fighting. It's like it's also baby's first dog fight.
Yeah,
it's kind of messed up.
Which is funny because I never really thought of it.
Because you raise them and you breed them and you make them stronger and you kind of you can name them. So it's really it's like if you took Tamagotchis and then made them fight each other.
Right. And that was the 90s thing too, is Tamagotchi. It's kind of relatable to Pokemon. So yeah, you walk around, you explore the world. There's a league at the end, which is kind of a collection of final bosses that you need to collect 8 gym badges in order to even fight. So you develop the story, you meet all these characters through the 8 gyms that you have to go through, which are all located in different towns, and you explore the world's different themed areas. There's forests and mountains and oceans and snowy areas, etc. that all have different types of Pokemon that you want to go and collect. There's also a bunch of
super rare, there's only one of them in each game, and you have to go through a big dungeon to get to them. But they're called legendary Pokemon, and again, they're one of a kind. They're very hard to catch, is kind of the thing. But of course, most of us cheated and caught them all, anyways, with our unlimited Master Balls or whatever we did back in the day. But nevertheless, the whole idea of them was you might not catch it, and if you lose your chance to catch it, you only had that one chance. But they're very powerful. Basically, if you have a team of legendary Pokemon, you can cheese your way through the rest of the game. That's why a lot of people don't end up using them, because they prefer to use a team of their own hand-picked Pokemon that aren't. Yeah, there's some sort of challenge. I think that most people play it that way these days. Yeah.
Then there's the whole gotta catch them all movement, right? So there's this whole idea of collecting them. And this is what was unprecedented and very unique about Pokemon, was that every generation was released had 2 games. And there's unique Pokemon in each one, which required you to either own both and do your own trading or trade with friends. And so that took advantage of the portableness of Game Boy with a link cable. So
they made the link cable for Pokemon, didn't they?
The link cable inspired Pokemon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
I think the link cable was used first with Tetris.
Gotcha.
I believe. But the creators of Pokemon, one of the creators, was inspired by the link cable. He would think of insects crawling across the wire.
Yeah.
And then he watched the show Ultraman and was inspired by the fact that monsters came out of these little capsules and grew up to be huge and fight each other, like Godzilla scale, right?
Yeah.
So he kind of took those 2 ideas and he came up with capsule monsters as an idea. And I will say these guys' names because they formed the companies we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
I'm going into the history of Pokemon now.
Yeah, no, I got you.
His name, first, I'm going to ruin these names. I cannot pronounce Japanese names, but Ken Sugimori and Satoshi Tajiri formed the game development company Game Freak, followed later by Creatures, one of the companies responsible for producing and licensing various aspects of the Pokemon franchise, the trading card game, and other merchandise in Japan. So Game Freak, Creatures, and Nintendo, the 3 companies now, today, make up the, quote, Pokemon company, the overarching ones.
Which makes everything now. Makes everything Pokemon related.
But Tajiri was the guy who was looking at the link cable from the Game Boy and thought of the insects, combined that with Ultraman, came up with this idea, started pitching it to Nintendo, and after several failed attempts, Shigeru Miyamoto, known for Zelda and Mario, jumped in, helped him, and they together proposed Pokemon. Pocket Monsters.
Pocket Monsters, yeah. For those who don't know what the word Pokemon stands for, it's Pocket Monsters. And I think in Japan, they were, before they were Pokemon, like, because of the whole capsule idea, they were called Capsule Monsters.
They were, and that was a trademark problem. Like copyright infringement type deal, something else had that, so they had to change it to Pocket Monsters.
That's fine. Pokemon rolls off the tongue better than Capsimons or whatever.
It would have just been,
yeah.
Capsule Monsters.
Capsule Monsters. Yeah, that's lame.
So that's kind of the brief history of Pokemon, where it came from.
It came out in 1996. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and then not every year, but every, what would you say, 3 or 4 years since then?
It wasn't a yearly franchise until way later with lots of spin-offs and things. Right. But yeah, initially it was every couple years.
They always come out in pairs. Usually a third game is added later or a remaster or whatever, but it's always some binary. So it used to be colors, and then they kind of ran out of like sensical colors to make everything, and so then they moved to, so I think the first deviation was what, X and Y?
Generation 3 had Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald.
Yeah, which are still kind of colors.
You went from red, blue, green, yellow, gold, silver, crystal. Crystal was kind of the bridge there. Gold, silver.
But crystal is still seen as a color in a lot of ways.
Is it?
Yeah.
I don't know. And then diamond, pearl, platinum. They kind of went into like crystal, ruby, sapphire, emerald, diamond, pearl, platinum. They're all like...
Pearl is more... And then it was...
Black and white.
Then X and Y.
and then X and Y.
Is X and Y the most recent one? No, Sun and Moon, So there's always... And then they always add another one later that's kind of like... So a lot of people think that Pokemon Stars is going to be the third one added to Sun and Moon. So they always add roughly 100 new Pokemon each generation. Yep.
So there's 7 generations and there's 802.
Yeah, the first one they did the first generation was 150, 151 if you count Mew.
Right.
And then they added 100 with the next generation and so on and so forth.
Yeah,
so
it's around 100. Some are less, some are more.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's Pokemon in a nutshell. Let's talk about our experiences. What was your very first, if you can remember, what was your very first experience with Pokemon?
I actually don't remember why I wanted it. That's the weird part. I just remember getting Pokemon Red and Blue. My brother got Blue, and I got Red at the same time. And I was obsessed. Everyone at school was talking about it. The cards were kind of taking off, and some friends of mine had some of the cards. And I wasn't really into the cards, but I liked them. I wanted to see them. And then the show. So I started with the show. That's probably what made me want the game, actually, was the anime.
Yep. Me too.
In chronological order, the anime came after the game.
But a lot of people started with the anime and then wanted to get the game.
Because everything came out in Japan so much ahead of time than North America. By the time North America saw it, we were exposed to the anime already. Where
I feel like it wasn't until like 98 that I really even encountered Pokemon, which had been 2 years after it came out in Japan. So...
it was 97 for me.
Maybe it was earlier. I don't know. See, I don't even remember. That's what my answer is. I don't really remember. I do remember the first game I had was Yellow. Yeah. Because all my friends had Red and Blue, and I was very late to getting the game. But I had played and seen Red and Blue. I think I'd even borrowed it at one point from a friend. But the actual first one that I owned was the Special Pikachu edition. Yeah. And that they made Yellow because... the anime was so popular. People wanted Pikachu to follow them around. So they made the Yellow version where literally the first Pokemon you get it's basically the same plot as the anime where the character is like, all the Pokemon were taken by his rival, so he gets or all the Pokemon were gone. I don't remember how exactly what it was, because the rival has Eevee. Like, they actually give Gary Eevee in Yellow. Huh. But yeah, so that's why
Let's Go Eevee and Let's Go Pikachu, which are yet to be released Pokemon games on the Switch, are that.
Right, Eevee which is, by the way, the reason why we're doing this episode now is because Let's Go, a new Pokemon game. It's not a core game, but it's a spin-off game, is coming out.
Probably the week of this podcast.
The week of this episode. That's why that's why we timed it in such a way. So it's crazy to think that, like, again, it started and it's just been going, and they've been continuing to release tons and tons of games and spin-offs.
Core games, spin-off titles. So I was in 6th grade when Pokemon came out. And no, I was probably in 5th. I don't remember. But I got a Nintendo 64 the Christmas of my 5th grade year. And I got Pokemon Yellow the Christmas of my 7th grade year.
I imagine our parents, we're going to be so much more understanding with our kids in regards to, like, what our kids ask for with video games.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But I can't imagine how frustrated my parents must have been that they're like, we got you an N64, and now you want a Game Boy, and you want to play, like, you want to hold
looking at the fidelity of the
game that you're not
like,
even like you, and you have, exactly.
What?
Like, you have this that even looks better. I can't imagine.
I can't either. But I was obsessed with Pokemon. I loved it. I caught it right away. I got the fever. I started trading with friends in school. I would just like pour over it. We had birthday parties and gatherings where everyone was playing Pokemon. I had the player's guides for every generation. I still do, except for the newest ones. And like, I remember taking my Game Boy and my player's guides to friends' houses. Some people would pick on me thinking it's a kid's thing and I was too old for it. And I was like, no, Pokemon's awesome. Yeah. It's amazing. And I've sunk so many hours into all of it.
Did you ever try to actually play the card game?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the card game.
I never actually... sorry, no, I did play it once.
I've got all of them. I collected
the cards, but I only ever actually played the game the way it was meant to be played. Like one time.
We should do that
with
sometime.
Damage counters and everything. Yeah, that would be fun.
Mm-hmm. The Pokemon card game was a little bit later. I don't think I got into that till like another year or so. It was 7th grade, because I remember looking at the decks in my civics class, which was 7th grade, and I got into that. I played the crap out of the cards with my friends. There was a Game Boy Color game that was the card game was ported to Game Boy Color,
nice. Yeah.
Pokemon trading card game, and I played the crap out of that.
Yeah,
like,
that would be so like with Hearthstone and stuff like that. With these trading card, with these quote unquote trading card games There's
a whole online thing you can play it now.
But is it made by Game Freak?
Yeah, it's officially licensed. You can log in on their website. It's web browser based, so it's not like a standalone app or game yet. But it's there, and it's all digital. Every booster pack you buy comes with a QR code you can scan, and you get a random booster pack for your internet side
in
too.
the card?
Yeah.
In the game? That's cool.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, let's go ahead and move on to what we call, whenever we do these everything episodes, we do favorites and rankings, where we just talk about the favorites, like what's our favorite games, or which games we think are like what order of games are the best, whatever like that. So if you are a longtime listener, you've heard this in our Zelda episode. Was the first time we did it because we just really want to talk about our favorite Zelda games. So we do this with everything episode, and so we will just start with all these Pokemon ones. So okay, starting with the obvious one, which Pokemon core game is your favorite?
Mine is Omega Ruby, which is technically Gen 6. It came out after X and Y on the 3DS.
Yeah.
And it was a remake of the Gen 3 game Ruby and Sapphire, so they came out with those remakes. And the reason being is because I loved Ruby a lot, but the pacing in Ruby was garbage. And so it required a ton of grinding. That was one for Game Boy Advance, and it was the first game to really utilize the different aspects of nature. So you have a swamplands, you have a magma volcanic rock area, you've got a snowy area, you've got a forest, and like grasslands, which are kind of boring, beaches and water. So like it really was more diverse than the previous titles had ever been. And because it utilized Super Nintendo-esque graphics as opposed to like NES limitations with the Game Boy Color, Ruby stood out to me a lot. But the remake fixed all the problems in the previous Pokemon games, in that you could do like an experience share would give you experience across the whole party instead of just one other Pokemon. That's just like quality of life improvements across the board, fixed all of the annoying kind of grindy-ish stuff to it. So combine my favorite world with my favorite generation of Pokemon, which is 3, and put it on Gen 6, add all the stuff from X and Y, boom. My favorite Pokemon.
Yeah, I'm going to say a surprising, even though I do love Gen 1, I'm going to actually say that my favorite is Gold, Pokemon Gold. Specifically because like all my friends got Silver, and they're all like, Lugia is so much cooler and better. And so, of course, I was like, no, I'm going to get Gold. All the way. And
Lugia was cooler. I'm a Silver boy.
I believe that. I liked Gold because, again, it had all the Pokemon from Gen 1 that I loved still, but also had all these new Pokemon. I loved I don't know why, but I loved Unknown. The Pokemon called Unknown. I actually spent like a significant amount of time. I remember I was on vacation at my grandparents' house. I remember just like wandering around the Unknown area trying to catch all the different kinds of the letters.
Ruins of Alph.
That's what they're,
yeah.
And so I tried to catch all the different letters because like in your Pokedex or something, there was something where it was like edged, and like each time you caught a new one, it would light up, and and then I caught them all 26 of them, but there's still a space left, and I'm like, there's gotta be a secret of some kind, and if there was, I never figured it out. But nevertheless, nevertheless, I got all of them. I got it all the way around, but the one. But I know for sure that I had all 26 letters because I thought there was like some extra one or something super or something like that. I didn't know what to expect. But again, I wandered around for hours, didn't find anything. Yeah. So if there is a secret there and you all know about it, let me know. I never found it as a kid, and then so I loved that. And yeah, I thought it was a fun game.
Gen 2 is my second favorite.
Oh, nice.
Like it introduced day and night cycles for the first time.
Oh, and it introduced the red Gyarados. I thought was the coolest thing in the world. And every single time I played it, I caught that.
Yeah, you had to.
I caught him. I was like, get that red Gyarados, because then you throw him out and he'd be like,
Yeah, it actually looked different.
Yeah.
The sprites were improved. Like there was a lot more dynamic graphics to the game. They added day and night cycles, berry system, breeding was introduced.
Breeding, yeah.
Yeah, like the second generation really was the fully realized version of Red and Blue. But did you know that Red and Blue exists in Silver after you finish the main game and Gold? You get the 8 badges, you beat the Elite Four,
and then you can go
back to
Kanto.
Pallet Town.
Yeah.
Kanto region, and go through all of the original gym fights.
No, I did know that. And did you know that Gold and Silver were supposed to be the last? That was almost a trivia question I included.
Oh yeah,
is they were designed to be the last Pokemon games.
Oh, interesting.
But they made enough money that there was pressure to make a third.
Whoa, that's cool.
All right, next favorite. What is your favorite spin-off game or content in general?
Yes, Pokemon Snap for the N64.
Right. Gosh, yeah, I hated Pokemon Snap.
I loved it. Well, at first, when I first got it, let's say first, how many times? I beat it in one night. And I was like, no, there's got to be more to this. There's got to be more.
No,
and that was it. Like I saw the whole game.
It's a rail shooter, but you're just taking pictures
very
of Pokemon.
Limited.
It's like the Jurassic Park ride in Universal. You're like, okay, so much, and then there's a big drop at the end. And
right.
That's it.
And the cool part, I have a whole bunch of players guides because before the age of the internet where I could just Google everything, that didn't exist. So I had to have something to tell me what to do. I'd always play the games first without the guide, and then I'd revisit them with it. And with Pokemon Snap, no exception, there was all these hidden Pokemon everywhere. You had to throw certain things at certain times.
And it was super hard at the very end.
Very hard.
At the very end, you could get a picture of Mew,
which I have.
It's so hard because he's so fast. He just whips across the screen. It's like when Mew shows up in Smash Bros. And then that does nothing, which always drove me crazy. And I was always like trying to find the secret. How do you get Mew to do something in Smash Bros? There is no answer. He doesn't do anything.
Yeah. But I love the environments. I love the songs, the atmosphere. It's really short. It's very accessible. It's easy-ish, unless you go for those exclusive things. But then there was developer scores because your photography was rated based on what the Pokemon's doing, how close he is, how nice he's framed, and what's going on. So you could increase your score. So there's tons of replayability to find every hidden Pokemon and then try to max out your score. And I was consumed by Pokemon Snap. We need a sequel.
Okay. I loved what still wasn't my idealized Pokemon game, but I loved it anyways because it was still closer. I loved Pokemon Stadium.
Yeah.
That's my second favorite. Again, and what I also loved about it was it came out around the same time Gen 2 was out, so if you had a red Gyarados,
he was red.
And you imported him into because what you could do is you could take your game. They had a big attachment that came out with Stadium where
the transfer pack.
Yeah, the transfer pack, exactly. So you could actually put your game cartridge from the Game Boy in, and it'll transfer all of your data, all of your save data, and you could play the 3D Pokemon fighting game with your Pokemon that you had collected and raised in Pokemon. You could also play Pokemon straight up.
That was the best part. I was about to say.
I was going to say, that's what I
spent
loved.
more time at the Dodrio Stadium or whatever it was. And then you could play it at 2 and 3 times speed.
Yep.
You unlocked the 3 times speed by playing a whole bunch of Pokemon Stadium content itself, nature to the game. And you could play it and you just grind in a moment.
Yeah, I would totally. And I just loved playing it on my big TV like that because to me as a kid, I was just bigger is better. So if I can play this.
Well, I had a Super Game Boy, so I was already doing that on the Super Nintendo.
Good for you.
I still have that.
Moving along. What are your top 5 favorite actual Pokemon?
Ooh, I have a list.
Internal Pokemon.
Yeah, I have more than 5, of course, but not by much.
Okay.
All right. You want me to go?
Go.
My very favorite Pokemon of all time, across all generations, is Articuno.
Okay.
Because Ice type is my favorite, and he's awesome.
Did you ever notice Articuno, Zapdos, Moltres,
Unodos?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's another one that I saw in trivia, and I was like, should I include that?
Yeah. My second favorite Pokemon is Flareon.
Okay.
And my third is Decidueye.
Okay.
He's the latest.
Newest one. Yeah.
I like Darkrai. He's a ghost dark type. He looks really menacing, kind of like Venom from the Marvel series.
Yeah.
And then Spirit Tomb is this crazy ghost. It's like a hurricane. If you look at a Doppler radar of a hurricane, he looks like that with menacing angular eyes, and it's really cool. But he's super powerful ghost, legendary.
Yeah.
And then the Alolan form of Vulpix.
Oh, the Ice Vulpix?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
And then Kyurem, which is from Black and White 2 and Black and White 1. He's a dragon with a subtype of ice.
Nice.
Which is awesome.
Nice.
So I don't know if I'm saying his name right, but Kyurem.
Okay. I liked... so my favorite Pokemon of all time is Sandshrew.
Yeah.
Because when that game came out, my favorite animal was armadillos. So I was like,
It's odd.
yeah, Penguin. There in some alternate universe, we do this podcast, and it's Termite and Armadillo.
Hey, I'm okay with that.
So yeah, surprisingly enough, yeah, that was my Sandshrew slash Sand. I'll say Sandshrew slash Sandslash.
Sandslash.
Yeah, slash. But again, the idea, I won't make them two separate Pokemon because they're basically the same. So yeah, Sandshrew is number 1. Number 2, this might not be in order, so I'll start. Sandshrew was my favorite, but everyone else out here is more just how I remember them. As an adult, I've come to love Haunter.
Yes,
I don't know why.
Me too, actually.
Like, he's just so fun.
Yeah.
I like him, even though I also like Gengar. Haunter, like my favorite form of that evolution is definitely Haunter.
I agree.
I always loved Mew.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think it had something to do with the fact that like my friends growing up, it was this childish game that we would all play where we'd all kind of claim a character in whatever show we would watch or game we play. Yeah. I'm this one.
Right.
So I had a friend who was like, I'm Mewtwo. Mewtwo's mine.
Yeah.
And so then I was like, well, that sucks because I like Mewtwo. But I was like, oh, there's this other little one. It was cool because I was like the littlest among my friends too. So I was like, I'll do the Mew. And then like I just kind of like grew an affinity for him. So I like Mew a lot. Moving over to Gen 2, I love Dark Hound, I think is what it is.
Houndoom,
yeah.
Or Houndour.
Yeah, Houndour and Houndoom. And then I really loved Ampharos.
Yeah, the electric type.
The electric. It like started as a sheep. Yeah.
And Mareep.
But then kind of grew into this like crazy looking thing. Yeah. And then I'll do a 6th one. I do love Piplup. He is my penguin.
Yeah. Piplup's awesome.
If I never played that generation, but I saw that and I was like, okay, that's a Pokemon I can get behind.
It's a water starter.
Yeah.
Yep.
So cool. All right.
Favorite Pokemon type? I already said mine was Ice.
Favorite Pokemon type. You really like Ice the most. I used to love Psychic the most, but then they introduced. I mean, Psychic. I like Dragon too, but I think I'll go ahead and say my favorite as a grown adult. My tastes have changed. I'm gonna say Ghosts are my favorite.
Oh yeah,
I just like the Ghost.
There's
Pokemon.
a lot of cool Ghost Pokemon.
Yeah. Ghost
there really
Pokemon.
is.
Well, and there weren't that many in Gen 1. There were 3.
Yep.
It was Haunter, Gengar, and Ghastly. Yeah, exactly. So there were literally just 3. It was a type made for like one single strand of evolution.
Yeah,
and that was it. So I'm glad they've added a bunch of new ones.
There's a ton now.
And are they? See, the frustrating thing about Ghost Pokemon is they weren't strong against anything but Psychic, but they were also weak against Psychic. So if you're fighting a Psychic Pokemon, it was mostly them. So are they now like? I'm assuming they've been balanced.
Well, it's like anything special attack related can hit them, but I don't know about the balancing.
I guess they're strong against like normal. I don't know. What
they've changed and adjusted and tweaked the type chart a lot.
Yeah.
So I'm sure Ghost is super effective against things like Dark or something.
Sure,
I don't know.
Sure.
But
yeah, that's what I liked about Dark is they were like a nice counter to Psychic when they were first released. Yeah. All right. So I do kind of also like Dark, but anyways. All right. Favorite Pokemon item, like item or thing that you get?
My favorite has always been the full restore. All stats healed and full health from one item.
Yeah. I loved the bike.
Oh, yeah.
Whenever I get the bike, I was like, oh my gosh, the game is so much better now because you can just bike around. It was so much faster.
And you never played Gen 3. There's 2 different types of bikes.
Oh, good for them.
There's one that lets you bounce on top of things to access areas you couldn't before, so it's kind of like a gating mechanism.
Oh, I would have liked that, yeah.
And then there was a speed bike called the Mach bike that goes faster than the regular bike.
Cool.
I know. How cool is that?
Yeah, that is cool.
The bicycle's awesome.
Yeah. All right, one Pokemon that you would want added to Smash.
Probably Blaziken.
Blaziken?
Boring. But it's a fire chicken.
Okay. Fire chicken.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'll say what's on my favorite list, but I want them to add a ghost Pokemon. So if they're going to add any ghost Pokemon, I would like Haunter, but I think I would actually rather Gengar. I think would do better. Would be more fun. Would have a more fun moveset. So
Gengar would be fun.
Yeah. As like a side note, I will say it's interesting that I might be wrong about this, but I think the first non-Pokemon game that a Pokemon showed up in was Smash, right? Smash 64.
I guess so.
It's Pikachu.
I don't know for sure.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, like I think that's probably right. It's because I mean Pokemon has had tons of spin-offs and stuff, but again they've all been
named.
Yeah, named Pokemon. Pokemon Snap, Pokemon Stadium, Pokemon the trading card game, like
Pokemon Mystery Dungeon.
Yeah. But like this is the first time I think Pikachu's inclusion in Smash was the first time that
a Pokemon character was put into a different...
a Pokemon character was put into a different game, a whole different...
Saffron City.
That's
the stage.
The stage,
Pokemon stage. And then all the Pokeballs and all the Pokemon that appeared in Smash. It was very integrated.
Yeah, it was very cool. Pokemon is a backbone of which is why people think that Incineroar is another likely option for.
Oh yeah, where's that
for
in
Ultimate.
your leak?
It's not in there, which a lot of people I think are finding interesting because they say the person who originally leaked that, Vergaben or whatever, he will have been proven wrong if this other leak is true.
The
people love
fighting each other.
People love to see someone who's on top get taken down a peg.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Last favorite and or rating. What do you think is the biggest Pokemon related mistake? What was the biggest thing that you think was a dumb choice they made, or was just like this is a mistake? Or have there been any?
There's a couple. I don't know if there's a big flop or a weird mistake, but they're kind of related. Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon are probably a mistake because they were late to the 3DS at the end of its life cycle, because that's where we're at, and they should have been a Stars, third one, and then the long-awaited Switch Pokemon being Let's Go Eevee and Let's Go Pikachu, which is kind of this hybrid between Pokemon Go and the core franchises. If it weren't for the fact that we are getting a core Pokemon game in 2019 for the Switch, if that was it, would have been a massive mistake.
Backlash.
So I'd still say it's a mistake, only from the fan perspective of I want a core Pokemon game.
Right.
I'm getting that next year.
Yeah. I would say, you're going to disagree with me, but that's fine. I would say that Pokemon Snap, for me, was the biggest mistake. And the reasoning is because Nintendo has a long history of not listening to their fans. And I think this was the first time for me that I felt like, as a fan, not listened to. Because what we, the fans, were clamoring for is we wanted a 3D Pokemon game where we could go catch Pokemon. We wanted Pokemon Red and Blue.
Right.
But we wanted it with in a 3D world. Like, I wanted to be able to go and not just go into the grass and run around. I wanted to go see the Pokemon and I wanted to go engage in combat with them, which I'll talk about a little bit more when we get to the end of the podcast. But so with that, what I wanted, then they said, hey, a Pokemon game is coming out, and then they're like, it's Pokemon Snap. It was the same feeling for me then as it would be if they had said, hey, a Pokemon game is coming to the Switch, and then what we got was Let's Go Pikachu.
Yeah.
So when you said that, I was like, that's the comparable feeling that I did already have, where I was like, what I expected was this, and what I got was a picture rail shooter. Yeah.
And I don't know which one came out first.
Pokemon Snap came out before Stadium.
Stadium's got 96, 97 on it, so does Snap.
Oh, does it really?
Yeah.
Wow, they did come out really soon. Yeah. See, it felt like an eternity for me. Because the first one, to me, was like, oh, it's Pokemon 95.
Snap. Yeah. I have them both sitting here. I'm trying to look at them to see without Googling it. But I remember Pokemon Stadium being the first 3D Pokemon that I've seen ever. So maybe Snap came out after. But I don't know.
I could have sworn Snap came out first because I thought
it might have been.
That was for me. I was like, Pokemon Snap was the first one I saw.
As one of them dumb kids, you don't know the order of release dates. You just get games for Christmases and your birthdays, and you get them when you get them. You don't pay attention to when they come out.
Yep. All right, let's talk about try to keep this as short as we can. But as the big question is, what impact, influence, or innovation has Pokemon brought to gaming industry or gaming culture?
The mass acceptance of Japanese anime and Japanese RPG into the North American market. I think that's completely spearheaded by Pokemon.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy did great. Dragon Warrior did great. They were still very niche.
Yeah.
Japanese RPGs were still very niche.
But Pokemon was the first thing that you could turn to someone and then be like, hey, are you guys talking about Pokemon? As opposed to
everyone knew it.
Yeah, it was like, you and your close friends would know about Final Fantasy or Dragon Warrior, but or Legend of Dragoon or anything like that. But everybody was talking about Pokemon. It was on the news.
Yep.
There were South Park episodes making fun of it. It really was, which was a great episode.
It was
Chimpokemon.
Yeah.
I got to buy them Chimpokemon.
Yeah. It set the stage for card games. I think Magic the Gathering would have done great on its own, but I think mass acceptance into things like the Yu-Gi-Oh card games.
It was definitely a gateway drug for those kind of things. Yep.
So tabletop RPGs, there's a layover, a lab. You would never expect Pokemon tabletop RPGs. Yeah,
but it was definitely it was our generation's kind of first taste into that kind of thing. It was like, oh, this is a fun thing that you can do with your friends and get together, and have real interactions with them. What's more of this kind of thing? And Magic, and then Magic is a gateway drug into D&D for sure. So I can definitely see that.
And there was a lot of spin-off clones of the whole collect them all, get you things like Digimon.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But now
Yu-Gi-Oh! Too is much like
and
that.
Yokai Watch coming out in pairs with different version colors, slight variations requiring you to buy both or have a friend that has it so you can collect them all. Mm-hmm. So like those kinds of things have trickled into our culture. But I think the biggest thing is just the mass acceptance of Japanese culture and anime and RPGs. Today.
I would say there's two things I want to hit on in regards to how it's innovative and influential. The big one is just... like, you see a lot of, like, video game franchises that will, like, okay, the franchise has done well, so now we're going to introduce a TV show, or we're going to introduce a card game or a spin-off game or, like, or a board game or something like that. Mm-hmm. And Pokemon did all of that from the beginning. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, granted, yes, there's some time gaps. It was like, oh, the RPG's successful, so let's do an anime. Oh, the anime's successful, let's do a card game. But from my perspective as a kid... it really felt like just like Pokemon just came out of the gate. Pokemon's everything. Like Pokemon it's a card game. It's an anime TV show. It's a video game. Like granted, it started its roots as a video game. And at the core of what Pokemon is, it's a video game. Yes. But it's also this massive multimedia franchise. And it was that way from the start. And it almost seems like it was built that way. And no other video game franchise has really done that to as massive a success, I think, as Pokemon. Pokemon's like Harry Potter. For games. Like it's just this massive like multimedia thing monstrosity. And it really does represent, I mean it's like the second highest Nintendo franchise, like right after Mario pretty much. It is a significant portion of Nintendo's success as a company, and it really has bred a sort of rabid fan base. Surprisingly too, and not just because of nostalgia, though nostalgia has a lot to play in it, but there are people who continue to play and buy each new iteration of Pokemon.
I do.
So yeah, you do. And so I kind of represent that kind of fan that's like, oh, I come back to Pokemon when it's like a nostalgia factor. And you really represent the other kind of fan, which is like, no, these games continue to be good and continue to do better. Whereas I specifically remember being like, they're doing a third generation. They're adding more Pokemon now. It's just going to get stupid.
I thought the same thing. That's so funny.
As a kid, yes. But like now as an adult, like I've talked to people who continue to play them. And this is the second point that I was going to say in which they're influential. They've said, no, the games have gotten surprisingly more complicated. It's one of those, the games have as we've talked about this kind of idea in the podcast before, they've got a low skill threshold, but a very high skill ceiling in regards to, it's an easy game to pick up and play and do okay in. But like, there's a surprising amount of complexity. Like each Pokemon you catch, even if they're two of the same Pokemon at the same level, they're going to have different stats.
They have a different nature.
Yeah, and you can min-max
which
that.
Which determines how they grow. And there's these hidden values called IVs and EVs.
And they've done like
stand for something.
The mixed type Pokemon that make it so that like, again, red, blue, and yellow, more than any of the other games, are a game of rock paper, scissors. Yeah, it's my opponent has thrown out a grass type Pokemon, so I'm going to pull back my water type Pokemon and throw out a fire type Pokemon. Like
and
it's rock paper scissors. And then you've thrown out a blah. Yeah, exactly. So that's really what Pokemon was. But with adding like, oh, now you've got a Pokemon that's like dragon and steel. Like, what do you do?
Right.
Like, how do you counter that? You have to. Okay, you might be able to counter it with this, but its other attacks are going to make it like So there's definitely they've added some sort of complexity with
a lot of complexity
that makes that raises the skill ceiling while still being at its core accessible to new players. Exactly. Like you could let Sam play Pokemon maybe in like a year or two, and he'd probably be able to beat it. So
probably the weirdest thing, the most strangest thing to me about Pokemon is it's unlike anything else, and that it has the same core formula through like 15, 20 years of releases. It's still go get these 8 gym badges or accomplish these tasks, collect these stones, and then attack the final boss area with your team. Like every one of them are exactly the same.
Yeah, it hasn't had to. Core. It hasn't really had to do a Breath of the Wild level rehaul of the way the game plays,
and it still sells.
And still
to its criticism, because everyone's like, it's Pokemon, it's more of the same, but they've done so much to improve everything else, like the quality of life. And
but it still sells. It's still going to sell millions of copies.
Yeah,
like, and the new one on the Switch is going to sell millions of copies.
It will be.
Yeah. Cool. What would you like to see? We always like to look ahead. So, what would you like to see more of from the Pokemon franchise, or what is your like wish list? If you could will any Pokemon video game into existence, what would that game look like?
I think every Pokemon fan wants it, but a true open world Pokemon MMO. That's like everyone online is sharing the same world as you, and you see every Pokemon in the field and in the wild as they are.
Yep.
Random legendary Pokemon spawn at certain times and locations, and you go chase after them in the game.
And you have to all fight them together.
Yeah,
it's like a raid, basically.
Yeah, so you have raids, and you trade, and you fight each other, and there's like communities centered around like battling and trading and those kinds of things, all in a digital world. Kind of like what Pokemon Go did, but within an actual core game. Would be pretty sweet.
Yeah, I would love that too. I would love a Pokemon MMO. I would love like we've seen that it's very fun to like play like an action, like a Twitch reaction kind of action game with Pokemon before in the form of Pokken Tournament, for example. Like that's sweet, awesome. You get to actually be behind the wheel of the Pokemon and even Smash to a lesser degree. You're not just like picking its actions and watching it do it like you do in the core RPGs. You are controlling Pikachu or Charizard or Mewtwo or whichever one that you're controlling at the time,
right? And
actually doing the attacks yourself. I think that trying to integrate that kind of gameplay into whether it's an MMO or even just like a big massive kind of open world like Witcher style or Breath of the Wild style Pokemon game where it's single player but I would love for them to take red versus blue. I'd love to them to take red and blue and make a big open world like go into Kanto, and they kind of did that with. It looks like they've kind of done that with Pokemon Let's Go, Let's Go Pokemon. Yeah. But I want it to actually also be a combat, not just like
an action
I'm gonna
RPG,
throw a Pokeball at it. Like I want it to be exactly like an action RPG where like when you throw the Pokeball, the camera suddenly goes behind the Pokemon, and then you're controlling the Pokemon's actions. You're not controlling the trainer's actions. You're controlling the Pokemon itself, and they have 4 or 5 moves each mapped to one of your 4 buttons,
and they have skill trees. You can develop them
exactly, but you're actually moving and dodging and doing all that stuff yourself. Would be freaking awesome.
So then all of a sudden you get the move like agility, and it's press R1 to dodge really fast.
Right,
and you're using the move agility, but you're controlling it. Right. You're pressing left and R1 at the same time to evade an attack.
Right. Yeah. And it's like one of the buttons is like then you like one of the buttons is when you've gotten the other Pokemon weak enough, then you like hit a button and like it zooms back to the trainer, and then you do have to throw a Pokeball at them. That would be sweet. Awesome. It would be. It's literally just Pokemon, but with an action, like a more action based kind of combat system,
instead
a more
of
action RPG
battle.
Instead of the turn based style battle. That's what I would love. And just again, like I still am a kid, and I still want. In the open world style, I want to see. I don't want to just go into the grass and have a random.
Right, you want to see him walking around.
I want to see a freaking Charmeleon wandering around and like, oh, it's a Charmeleon.
Horizon Zero Dawn style, and you're like tracking them.
Oh my gosh, yes. Yeah, that would be amazing. That's the Pokemon game that I want on the Switch.
Gosh, could you imagine how frustrating Abra would be? You see him, and the moment he sees you, blink, he's gone. You're like,
Or Ditto, he like turns into your Pokemon, and you have to fight like a evenly matched version that he like. I think of like Shadow Link, in Ocarina of Time, where he literally copies your moves, and you have to like, it'd be nuts.
It'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah. So that's what I want. And you could kind of also, you could have that with an MMO, but they'd have to like balance it in such a way where it's like, I almost prefer it to just be a single player game where you can just make it as like challenging and deep as you want with having to worry about like player balance and stuff like that, or fairness or anything like that. Yeah. So that's what I want.
That'd be awesome.
That'd be nuts. Yeah. That's my dream game.
Yep.
Cool. All right. Well, we hope you've enjoyed another Everything episode where we've talked about hopefully one of your favorite franchises. If we haven't hit your favorite franchise yet, and you want us to talk about a specific franchise, you want us to go as in-depth with it as we did with this, then tell them, Termite, where can they find us?
You can find us at 80bitpodsmash.com, where we have our landing page there with links to iTunes and Google Play, where you can find our streams there. Subscribe to them, please, and review us. Leave a review for us. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Reddit. All 80-bit Podsmash. No uppercases, no hyphens, no funny business. We're all there. Tag us, share us with your friends. Communicate with us. Tell us what you like. You can also email us at 80bitpodsmash@gmail.com.
Yep. Cool. All right. Then until next time, y'all, make sure you catch them all.